you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth, heaven will loose. In other words, the conclusion of the matter is earth determines what heaven looses. Earth determines what heaven binds.
Now, I was going to ask you about agreement in prayer, so just finish up with that, please. That's powerful.
When you and I agree, an agreement is more than just us saying, yes, we agree. Agreement means that we put our faith in sync concerning something that God promised. Agreement means that we agree with God that he can now do
So
this.
it's not saying, okay, let's just agree.
No, it doesn't mean that. It's deeper than that. It means, God, we agree that you will do what you promised. So we agree with you that you can now perform this. That's agreement. So when you and I get together and say, okay, this is God's promise, we agree with him that he can now do it. Then God begins to do it. So prayer is man giving God earthly license for heavenly interference.
Oh, God.
And when you read the word of God, it begins to make sense. Paul says, pray always and never stop. Because when you stop praying, heaven is locked up. You should pray 24 hours a day. When you're driving your car, in the kitchen while you're cooking, while you are
slow
sitting,
down, Pastor.
you got to pray because he wants access constantly.
You just said something amazing. Heaven is locked up when we quit praying.
Absolutely.
Dear God.
That's why Jesus woke him up. He says, guys, don't sleep. He says, men ought always to pray. He said, look, your sleeping is blocking interference.
Blocking God's will.
Let me say something that blew my mind. I always wondered why God made the earth to spin around the sun and also the earth to spin. Here's why, and I believe it's the wisdom design of God. God designed the planet of earth in such a way that there will always be humans up praying. See?
Yeah, Lord.
Every 24 hours, a half of the globe is up. That means God will always have 24 hours constantly of access. That's why he says, I sought for a man. I'm looking for somebody. If my people. He says, there's got to be someone all the time telling me, interfere, interfere, interfere. That's why all-night prayer meetings are also good. But you don't need to pray all night because some other folks are up. But you can also pray all night. It gives God access constantly.
People, give the Lord a mighty hand.
Why can't God just save everybody? He needs a human agency. That's why you and I got to preach. We got to preach to give God license to literally go and convict that person, to bring them to him. We are critical to God's program. Here's the way I say it, and I quote from a very famous person, and this is very important. St. Augustine said this, and of course John Wesley repeated it. He says, it seems as if without man, God will not, and without God, man cannot. God needs us, we need God.
Amen.
It's a partnership. Prayer is doing business with God on earth.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Doing business with God on